All right, you ready, Chels?
I sure am.
Let's go.
Who's the most terrible of them all? It's HollywoodLian.
Hey, welcome to Everyone is Terrible. I'm your host, HollywoodLian. It's my favorite day of the week, and I just want to say, looking out the dirty old window, outside the road, and the city girl rushing by. I sit here alone and I wonder why. Bam! We're talking about the 95 teen comedy classic Clueless. And joining me today from the cute one, from the OhNoBravo Instagram account and Patreon, my good friend Chelsea.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
I'm so excited to see you and do this. It's been a long time. I've missed you.
I have missed you, but I love coming over to your Instagram page every week and saying to myself, "Yep, these people are terrible." Thank you, Lian, for speaking our thoughts out loud.
You know, there's always a list. Don't take it too personal. It's tongue in cheek. We don't go too far. But I wanted to give a fair warning for this one. We're going to be reaching because this movie is amazing. But I wanted to say, we're going to be reaching just like I was starting out the whole fucking podcast with a song.
Yeah, it's surprising because for as much as this movie doesn't hold up, I was rewatching it today and I was like, it kind of really holds up though. I was
Yeah.
really enjoying myself.
I think even the woke and the sensitive people will love it.
Hey, I fancy myself kind of woke and sensitive adjacent, and I really enjoyed it. It also helps that all of the fashion is in again. It was so funny to rewatch this movie and be like, oh, literally anything that Cher wears, I could see a Gen Z TikTok gal wearing, not ironically in 2021.
We see it every year for Halloween. The girls
Mm-hmm.
are Cher and Dion, the yellow plaid and the black and white plaid every single year.
Iconic.
There's no Patreon episode, but I'm wearing a yellow skirt and Chelsea's wearing the black and white one.
Mm-hmm,
Don't
mm-hmm.
you wish you could look up our skirts? The music is another thing that plays into this movie so fucking well.
Mm-hmm.
So join us as we roll with the homies and go into the valley and get totally bugging. So let's get into this. So I know you must be thinking, is this a Noxzema commercial or what? But I actually have a pretty normal, terrible podcast. So come on. I mean, come on. Paul Rudd is the sexiest man alive. And this is where he started. This is where we got our start from Paul Rudd.
It sure is. And this man does not age. I need his skincare routine. I need whatever witch doctor he's seeing. It is shocking. Because I know the joke is always oh, the man doesn't age. But you see him in this movie and you're like, no, but the joke comes from somewhere because just the same.
He doesn't age. He has somehow had an incredible career without being problematic.
Mm-hmm. He's one that if something comes out about him, I might just quit the internet. I might just say, you know what? I had a good run. I'm going to throw my cell phone off a balcony and just live off the grid
well,
now.
something did come out that he's the sexiest man alive, and everybody went, yes, he deserves it. And it's not because he's necessarily physically I'm sexy. He's Paul Rudd. Even in the movie This Is 40, he's you look at a guy like Prince and he fucks. You look at a guy like me and you know that I fuck like Ross from Friends. And I'm like, yeah, now that you said it, I can very much see you fucking me like Ross from Friends, which by the way would be very vanilla, boring.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you just gave a mouthful. I agree that I think that Paul Rudd deserves the title sexiest man alive in the same way that a person who showed up every day to high school does in fact deserve a perfect attendance score. It's we're giving it to you because you've earned it, but also should you be receiving this,
Yeah.
But
he's cute.
He's definitely cute. If he was cutest man alive, 100% he is earning that title.
Yeah.
Sexiest, I don't know, but I'm proud of him.
But ultimately, would you have sex with him?
Absolutely.
Exactly. It's like at the end of the day, we still would, because he deserves it. It's like, you deserve this bussy.
and let me be clear, like, he's still Paul Rudd. I mean, he's kind of terrible, but he's still
Oh, he's
Paul Rudd.
definitely terrible. He's 18 and in college, and then is dating his stepsister who's in high school.
Not great when you see it on paper written down like that. Also,
my boyfriend said it. My boyfriend said it. He goes, well, when you say it like that, Jesus.
but also that iconic line of it's Calvin Klein. Josh is the one who starts that when he leans over and he's like, you're not letting her go out like that. I'm like, pardon you. That is your stepsister, sir. And also, how dare you? The misogyny of it all. Terrible.
Yeah, totally. Oh my God. I love this. We're on a roll. Let's get into it. For most terrible, it goes to Murray. Because speaking of the misogyny, sexist and controlling, remember in the beginning, she's like, it is not even 8 a.m. And Murray has paged me like 15 times. He calls her woman. And then it's not necessarily what they're fighting about. It's how they're fighting in front of everybody. And he's pushing her buttons on purpose. That is what we call a toxic relationship.
They're so passionate about each other that he's going to scream and berate her in public.
Exactly. And like somehow we're okay with it. Not like that I did it or anything, but I honestly did really take this movie with me all the way into my 20s because I was fat in high school. So I was like the virgin, but I could drive.
Oh, skill set.
Because I wasn't going to be a virgin who couldn't drive because of Clueless.
You're like, I gotta check off one box.
Thank
Can't have
you.
both.
You know, but the dick did come to me right when I went to college. It just came right to me. So it was just right after high school. But unfortunately, I was the virgin in high school.
But you could drive. See, I was not a virgin in high school, but my driving atrocious. Very similar to the accidental highway driving scene. That was pretty much me scooting around the DMV as a 16-year-old, just crossing my fingers and toes that I made it there alive. And hey, look at me now, still kicking.
Well, that's why Dion is nominated for almost killing everybody on the freeway. I'm nominating her just strictly based on the freeway scene. Dion is nominated for letting go of the wheel several times. And then she lost her virginity based on that trauma.
Trauma bonded. It's a real thing. Yeah. Their relationship, as somebody who in my early 20s, my friend group called me and my ex-boyfriend the Sammy, Sweetheart, and Ronnie of our group. Not proud of that title, but just paints a picture. You know, therapy and anger management has helped me in my 30s, but I did understand the appeal of like, wow, these two people, yes, yell at her and ask her if she's on her period. Go off.
Oh my God. So, okay, so you were not a virgin in high school. So you were Ty. Because they were like, Ty, have you ever done it in water? And she's like, oh, yeah. What is this? Dion asking Ty for sex advice? And I'm like, yeah, this bitch has been around the block. She's done it in water. And we're in high school.
You know what? I've never put it together, but I do think that I was Ty because I also famously was in dire need of a makeover. I just got rid of my braces and like grew my canine teeth, you know?
Yeah, that helps. That helps. See,
this should be video recorded because the look that Lian just gave me was like, what the fuck? Why did I have you on this podcast?
And she showed me the teeth and everything, guys.
Yeah.
And speaking of braces, if I sound funny, if I sound like there's like a little lisp, it's not a homosexual thing, I promise. I'm still gay as fuck, but I'm gonna have straight teeth. The only thing straight about me, I have Invisalign in right now. Yes.
Oh.
And next in the next 2 days I do my next tray.
You're talking wonderfully though. I always just assumed if you have Invisalign it's like full list, but you sound wonderful.
Well, they're so freaking tight on my teeth, you know.
Oh, they're like real. Yeah.
Yeah, they're sore. But you know what? it's like a good, I feel like so great about it. It's going to be good. You know, I'm doing it during the mask phase right now. So
Yeah.
2022, bitch, it is on. Like, you're going to be like, why is he naked on Instagram? And it's like, well, because I paid for it. Okay. The teeth, the LASIK. All right. Well, let's move on to, obviously, since we're talking about gay people and stereotypes, Christian, who's stuck up for
Christian.
Ty at the mall.
Mm-hmm.
And he tells Cher in the beginning, we're friends, right? She just misread everything because she wanted to lose her virginity to him. But I think he was like gay the whole time. You know what was cool about it is that like everyone knew he was gay and everybody was cool with it. And even when they let Cher know, it's not like they went back and asked him about it. Like it was just like something that was cool about it. Like it shouldn't be a thing anyway. And it wasn't. I thought that was kind of cool for like 1995. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, it actually like was very impressive for the times, I feel like, because it wasn't like a huge conversation. It was more of a like, Cher, you're the idiot for not knowing because we all know and you're a narcissist, so you just assumed everybody loves you type of thing. Like it was more like a ha to her and not any like bad feelings or vibes towards him, which was pretty cool for 1995. I mean, yes, they definitely like played into some stereotypes and whatnot, but I still think like that's pretty big to have just like that was like not his main character trait.
Yeah.
It was just like part of who he was.
And Murray, of course, delivered it in like a very Murray sexist, misogynist way. Your man Christian is a cake boy.
Mm-hmm.
It was a very 1995 way to bring up gay people, but that's how I talked in 1995 too. I used to say like if something was bad, we used to be like, "That's so gay." we used to. That was the thing. It was the thing.
It was.
So is Christian nominated at all for Most Terrible? Could he be nominated?
You know, he's one of the characters for me that I've been reaching, but even for this one, I couldn't. Yeah. He was just like he stuck up for Ty. Yeah. He like was really sure of himself. He was like a kind person. Even when like he rejects Cher, he does it in a very like caring, kind way, besides making her like fall off the bed. But like I thought that he was nice. How did you reach? Did you find, you're the master at finding things terrible, did you find him terrible?
I actually was thinking about voting him terribly delicious because we always have someone that we vote terribly delicious. You know, we have to balance out the terribleness, and if we do terribly delicious, so I was thinking it could be Christian. Because even after the awkward thing with Cher when she tried to have sex with him, he was still friends with her. He didn't make her feel weird about it. They didn't make him feel weird about being the gay guy in the closet that didn't want to talk about being gay. He was just like a fashionable kid in high school. You know, we talked about the makeover with Brittany Murphy without talking about the iconic song that went with it. And that was, I Want to Be a Supermodel.
And that's like also the soundtrack was like part of the magic of the 90s movies. Like you could buy the CD, you could go to Blockbuster, buy yourself the soundtrack CD, and it was like equally as important as watching the movie. Like you would just listen to it from start to finish, and this is one of those movies too.
Rolling with the homies. The whole party in the Valley, you know, the movie Clueless is why the Valley has such a bad rap in general. Because Cher rolls her eyes and goes, ugh, the party in the Valley. Cops usually break it up in an hour and it takes that long to get there. And it's totally true. Like if you're in Hollywood and you're going to go to the Valley, if there's any kind of traffic, it will take you 1 hour to reach your destination. That's like reaching like the max. It's usually 30, 40 minutes. All right, well, let's get into my next nomination. The Miss, you know, You're a Virgin Who Can't Drive herself. Rest in peace, Brittany Murphy.
R.I.P. How is she terrible?
Specifically, I think because she makes Cher feel bad about being a virgin. Remember the restaurant scene?
That's true.
Cher, you're a virgin? She's like, I don't really care either way, as long as you know what isn't crooked. So she hates a crooked penis. And I do agree with her on that because I had to once break up with a guy over text message. Because his penis was entirely way too big and crooked. There was no way we were ever going to physically have sex. It was an L shape.
Wait, so the crook didn't start at the base? It was like, no.
I'm not joking.
How?
It was literally an L.
Did he break it?
No.
Did he talk about it? That's what I always want to know. Did he acknowledge it?
Orally, but like.
Well, I guess so. It's like a little water slide. Zoom.
Yeah, it was a weird time in my life.
Mm-hmm.
He was a security guard at the Venetian.
As one is. Yes, go on.
Las Vegas, baby. 702. Where my girls at? All right. So I would go to his house and we would like talk all night and stuff and like make out. Like back then I was really, really big on the making out. It took me a while to come into like my sexual phase where I literally became promiscuous. Back then I was just like making out with everybody.
Yeah.
And looking back, I'm like, such a waste, you know, because I was so hot and so many people wanted to fuck me.
You're just a little makeout slut.
I should have let them, you know.
But follow-up questions about the L-shaped penis. Did he acknowledge it? Like the first time that you saw it, was he like, by the way, you're going to see something and it's not the shape you think it should be?
No, he never. I mean, we did talk about it, but he never said like, you're going to see an L-shaped penis. We hadn't had anal sex yet. And he told me my last boyfriend couldn't handle it. Basically, he was hinting at the fact that it didn't work out because of his penis.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So you just shit on Ty a lot for the crooked penis and then proceeded to tell an entire story where you're agreeing with her, though.
Oh, I know. I'm totally terrible. I really didn't like the way that Ty fought with Cher when they actually got into their agreement. And Ty brought it up later. Like, she was like, I shouldn't have became so crazy with you. Like, you've been nothing but super duper nice to me. And I'm like, you're right. She has. And you're fucking popular now. None of them were even thinking about having sex until she came in. And then they were all about having sex. I don't know. Am I wrong?
See, I think if I had to vote somebody terribly delicious, it would be Ty, but that's just because I have total blinders on whenever it comes to Brittany Murphy. So like she could have literally played Voldemort in this movie and I would have been like, perfect. Yes, you're wonderful. God bless.
Terrible TV recommendation. I know we usually did it in the beginning, but terrible TV recommendation. Go watch the Brittany Murphy documentary right now on HBO Max. It's fucking weird.
See, I haven't watched it yet because I'm afraid it's going to make me too depressed because everything I've heard is like no questions were answered. It just makes you feel really sad.
Well, there's two things to it. And here's what I have to say about it. The first thing is that the entire situation is very strange. Mm-hmm. The husband is strange. The mom is strange. The mom and the boyfriend were sleeping in the same bed after Brittany Murphy died. Yeah. Then he died basically of the same thing that she died, making me think, did the mom poison her and the boyfriend later? And then to even put everything aside, because I am a Hollywood boy and I was born here, I have friends in all kinds of fields. That used to be Britney Spears' house. And the reason that Britney Spears moved out of it back in the day was because she said it was fucking haunted and there was a spirit in there that was demonic, and specifically that bedroom. And that's where Brittany Murphy died. So like there's the HBO documentary weirdness pointing out all these crazy people. But then also in my circle, like I've heard that fucking house is crazy. And Britney Spears moved out of that house saying, I left because I thought it was trying to kill me. And then she moved out, and we see what happened to Britney. Like she was never the same after that. She bought that house with Justin Timberlake.
Holy shit.
Super sad that we lost her so
young. Talented. Yeah.
Well, let's move on to our next nomination. We have two more. Cher. Cher, because she's mean to Travis for no absolute reason from the beginning of the movie. Mm-hmm. You know, he's a stoner. They hang out on that grassy knoll. She's very judgmental.
But it had to be Alicia Silverstone.
Oh my God, no, she's the perfect character for it. It's what made the movie, her facial expressions, how beautiful she is, the way she
Mhm.
wears the clothes, the way she delivers the lines. Some of it was done incorrectly and they didn't correct her because it was just so part of the character.
Uh-huh.
You know, they're like, the word Haitian is in the script and she says, okay, so the Haitians need to come to America. And no one corrected her because they were like, oh my God, it's perfect. Like she's literally clueless. It's perfect. As far as terrible reasons, she's kind of a liar. She lies for fun. She lies to get things happen, which kind of leads into manipulation a little bit. I mean, we did warn you guys we were going to be reaching.
I do have to say, I did deeply resonate with the way she handled being held up at gunpoint because when I was held up at gunpoint when I was in college, I reacted in a similar way. So I had just had my house burned down tragically. So my friends came into town and I were like basically like taking me out drinking because I had just like casually lost my home. And we're walking down to the downtown bars and we get held up. Like this guy like pops out of the bushes. And I was literally like just at a place in my life of giving no fucks that I like yelled at him and was like, I don't have anything to give you, sir. Like my house just burned down. I don't have anything. Like what else do you want from me? And he
Oh
ended
my
up
God.
apologizing to me. He was like, I'm sorry, ma'am. Have a good night. He did continue to take money from my friends, but like he like apologized to me because I was like basically like, how dare you rob me when I don't have any things?
That's when you know you're at the end of your rope, girl.
That's the cry for help.
Right before you die, your mind just becomes very clear. It's a very intense spiritual situation. My final nomination, and I will please, if none of the people on your list are on them, please interject and bring them up. But
Okay.
my final nomination on my side is for motherfucking Elton. Kissing her all the time. First of all, are you my
Yes.
man? Why are you kissing my neck?
Mm-mm.
Why are you kissing me on my lips? He dropped the card during suck and blow. And then he sexually assaulted her in the car. She
Mm-hmm.
had to get out of the car for him to stop. And then he left her there where she got robbed by gunpoint. Chelsea?
I could not agree more. This man is a straight up creep. He's always lurking because he's also like his approach is always somehow from behind, which is like objectively like the creepiest direction to come from,
Yes.
just like right from behind. Yeah, this dude was a creep.
Disconnected, a bad student as well.
Mm-hmm.
Always wanted to leave. Ty, why would I go with Ty? Do you know who my dad is? I'm like, oh, so you're elitist too. Fuck you, you little Beverly Hills bitch. So nominations for Murray, nominations for Dion almost killing everybody on the freeway, and Stacey Dash in real life is just a fucking crazy bitch.
The
And it's not
worst.
because she's Republican. She's just fucking crazy.
I was looking up, and we don't have to go there if you don't want to go there, but because she was, so my two like real life terrible people
Bring it.
was I will never get over Alicia Silverstone feeding her baby like a bird. That image, that video has stuck in my brain, burned into my frontal cortex. Like I will never be able to unsee that. So actually, when you asked me to come on, that was the first thing I wrote down before even rewatching the movie. It was just terrible. And then of course, Stacey Dash in real life, because the quotes that she has are just actually insane. Insane.
I love you, and this is why I asked you to come on. I had completely forgotten about the bird feeding mouth to mouth.
I will never forget, Lian.
I was shook. She literally would take the food and chew it up in her mouth. I mean, I'm not talking about one or two bites. Like she would mince the food and then she would regurgitate it, like basically spit it back in the boy's mouth. It was disgusting. Your mouth, your child's mouth, and your mouth.
What I take issue with is feeling so confident in this parenting decision that you thought to yourself, sure, let me video it. and post it up there on the internet and expect no one to say anything, and then actually be like aghast and surprised that people have things to say about it. That's my issue. That's the terrible thing for me.
Oh, Alicia Silverstone starred in American Woman, produced by Kyle Richards.
Mm-hmm.
I did not watch one episode. Kathy watched more than me because she watched the trailer, and I didn't even watch the trailer, girl.
I watched the first episode, and then I kind of forgot it was a thing.
It's come to that time where we have to name someone most terrible, Chelsea. That's what we have nominations for. We have nominations for Murray, her being controlling and sexist and like kind of misogynistic. Dion for being crazy and almost killing everybody on the freeway. But most importantly, Elton for being creepy, for being someone who kisses people without consent. We don't like that. You know, like, can you ask before you put your tongue in my mouth? And don't leave me stranded. You're bad. One terrible thing about the movie, there was one gay stereotype, the PE teacher. We could have done the PE teacher a little better. They were kind of rude to the PE teacher.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
Final decision. Who is the terribly clueless of clueless?
I think that I have to go with Elton, the creepo.
I think I'm going to double down and say Elton is the most terribly clueless.
See what you did there. Ba-dum-bum.
Go back and watch it. He is not fun at all, even from the beginning. Like, I want to thank my guest, Chelsea from OhNoBravo and the Cute One podcast. Chelsea, what do you want to promote today?
Well, you just did a great job, but you guys can check out I Am the Cute One. It's a podcast with the dip.
Look for me on her Patreon in the next couple weeks. Podcast at the end of this week, premiering about Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip, and I'm covering that with someone who works at Bravo. So this is going to be interesting because we've all known Bravo to be semi kind of controlling, you know, doing their own narrative. So, you know, when you throw a big wrench in like me, you know, I can fuck shit up. So I'm just going to fuck it up.
I love that casually every time you do an interview, you get in so much press because you ask questions that everybody wants to ask, but you're like, no, but I just don't give a fuck. And so I'm going to ask it though.
Somehow I just keep coming back to the mic. Thank you for all the messages about my cameo on the Netflix show, Pretty Smart, my drag debut. It was super fun. Go check that out. No Patreon for this episode, but we will have one for the Ultimate Girls Trip. Go over there and sign on. It's the full episode. It's only $5. It's literally like a Starbucks pumpkin spice fucking latte. I love you. Stay terrible.
Thanks for having me on. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Who's the most terrible of them all? It's HollywoodLian.